You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
I am the knight. I am
Matt Lazowitz, and welcome to this week's episode of Bat Chat with Matt and Will, a Batman ranking podcast, where each week my co-host Will Nevin and I dig into 3 Batman stories, discuss them, and rank them on the big board, thus creating a giant list of Batman stories from best to worst. Will, how's it going tonight?
Yeah, it's going. It is going, sir. I tell you, I feel like I might be the very last person in the whole wide world. And look, let me say this first. I haven't seen anything. I have just started to read, and I'm only like 7, 8 chapters in. I have just started to read this week Game of Thrones.
Okay. I read the first 3 books right before the 4th book came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a ponderous wait for the 5th book. And then I read that on a long train ride to and from Florida from Philadelphia. So I pretty much just took the entire train ride reading the book both ways. And
40 hours, give or take.
Give or take, yeah. And yeah, I have been waiting ever since for, God, how long is it now? 15-ish years? Something like?
I have long not been into fantasy as a genre. So I haven't read Lord of the Rings, haven't watched any Lord of the Rings media, but I had a friend of mine suggest that, oh, yeah, maybe, I've never read Game of Thrones. Maybe we could like read them together and talk about them. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I get like 10 pages into it, and I'm like, oh, I kind of get it. I kind of get why people got really into this stuff because I'm not a high fantasy guy. I'm not dragons and spells and wizards thing. But this is just I enjoyed the palace intrigue. I enjoyed the plotting and the schemes and this might as well just be an Elizabethan drama.
Yes, Game of Thrones is far more political than a lot of your classic high fantasy. The magic becomes a thing, and the creatures, the fantastic creatures become more a part of the story, but they never overwhelm the machinations.
And I'm here for some machinations. I love a good plot.
Oh, just wait, because it just gets deeper as you go.
I have just read through the Lannisters first throwing Bran off the tower. So I'm only like 7 or 8 chapters in. So I've got a long way to go.
Yes.
But I'm excited.
They're very good books.
And for as terrible as Amazon is, and it really is, I got the whole series on one Kindle download for $40.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, not at all. And of course, it's interesting to see, oh, you've been reading for like 3 days. You are 2% in.
Yeah, they're long.
Only 5,200 more pages to go.
Maybe by the time you're done, no, the 6th book won't be out. I'm not even.
And look, I knew nothing about this, right? Other than what you can gather through kind of cultural osmosis. Like I know, oh, one character is a dwarf. Jon Snow is a thing. The Starks, the Lannisters, they are things. But I had to Google like before I bought the Kindle thing. I was like, oh, what book do I start with? Oh, Game of Thrones. Shock there. But I saw that there are Wikipedia entries for like the next 2 books that are not even out yet. It's like, oh, fun stuff. I gather that at this point they're just not coming. They ain't coming.
No. If they come, it is going to be similar to another fantasy series, The Wheel of Time, where the author Robert Jordan passed and had left outlines behind, and his apprentice/assistant finished them. I'm pretty sure that Martin is going to not make it, and Daniel Abraham, who is a writer who started out, who's now a very successful writer in his own right, will probably finish the series from Martin's outlines. The end of the show, which I stopped watching when it started getting close to where the books stopped. I knew it was not going to be the same, and it isn't. I mean, things were changing early on. I think the broad strokes are what Martin intended, but there's enough difference that things are going to be vastly different than the end of the show. From what I know from those first few seasons where things changed, things can't be the same at the end.
Yeah.
But I think who wins the Game of Thrones is going to be the same regardless. It's more how you get there than the very, final moments of the show, I'd wager.
But I've been really impressed with my ability to just basically not know anything. Like I know the Red Wedding is a thing, but I have no idea where it's coming. Have no idea who's involved. I have no idea the outcome. But I'm just like I can read this fairly just unaware of what's going to happen.
That's nice. Because you know what? That is a what the fuck moment. It is a really, like, reading it before the show, it was just like one of those, I was on the train reading this and I'm like jaw on the floor moment in that.
Martin does a good job of foreshadowing a lot, but then sometimes immediately paying it off. The chapter where Bran falls off the tower, like you read so much about how he loves to climb. He's a climbing little boy. He's never fallen. And then, he sees the Lannisters fucking and, immediately falls.
Martin is possibly the only writer I can think of who more embraces kill your darlings than Stephen King. Because King waits until like the end of the book to kill his darlings. Martin leaves a trail of darlings throughout every book.
I'm excited to see where this series is going. And then I think I have convinced my friend we're gonna trade off Game of Thrones with Matthew Scudder books.
Hmm.
And that has been a series I wanted to start, so I'm excited about that.
Wait, I guess I'm being interrupted.
So if you like George R. R. Martin, but he doesn't dive into the minutia of medieval banking enough, you should check out Daniel Abraham.
Who I mentioned earlier as the guy who will probably finish Game of Thrones when Martin passes. That's Amber, everybody.
Thanks, Amber. Well, this has been Bat Chat Book Chat. I have certainly been unable to get to the movies in the past 3 days, but by God, I'm gonna see Sisu again. I swear it on my life. Probably tomorrow, since we're done with class and I ain't got nothing else going on. And God knows I need to see some Ruskies getting shot up and maimed and hacked and decapitated. You seen anything since Sunday, sir?
Yes, because I
Ooh.
did not have a recording on Monday. So I wound up going to the AMC Screen Unseen mystery movie.
Ooh, what was that?
It was Fuckham Hole.
I was just telling my friends about that. They were saying that as I had been getting into Game of Thrones, they said like, "Oh, yeah, we just started Downton Abbey." What did you think about it?
Yeah,
Oh
no.
no.
It is obviously, okay, what if we did the Naked Gun for Downton Abbey? The actors try. They try real hard with a 90-minute movie that has like 5 jokes that they just keep recycling in different permutations throughout the movie. The 4 sons of the Davenport family who live in Facamole, they were John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And let's make repeated John, Paul, George, and Ringo jokes throughout the movie. Or, J.R.R. Tolkien is one of the guests at the wedding, and he keeps seeing things that are going to inspire bits in The Lord of the Rings, except he keeps writing down the wrong thing. Like, someone says, "It's in your trousers, my precious." And what does he write down? "It's in your trousers, not my precious." It's not very funny. And again, the actors, these are good actors who are trying, but you can only polish a turd so much.
That is an absolute shame.
Your mileage can always vary, I think, on comedy far more than drama, because I think the senses of humor vary much more widely than appreciation for drama. So those jokes might land for someone else, but they did not land for me.
I'm torn between wanting to encourage a new generation of Naked Gun and parody movies, but then also knowing a lot of those were shit.
That is the problem, isn't it? For every Naked Gun or a Mel Brooks movie, you get Not Another Teen Movie and Scary Movie.
Three through whatever.
Right. Like the first one of those isn't bad, but after that, it
By the time David Cross shows up, no good.
severe diminishing returns on those. Yeah. I wanted to like this. I really did. But it did not land for me. This weekend will be Hamnet, the Shakespearean biopic, and something else that I can't recall. Not the big release this week. I will be skipping the IMAX because Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I'll probably see it, but not the first week because it is going to be crammed with teenagers who are going to get all the inside references that I have no friggin' clue about. That's the experience I had with the first Five Nights at Freddy's. This packed IMAX screening of teenagers were just laughing at things or like pointing stuff out, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Mm.
I'm
I haven't even, I have no concept of what like the original source material is. What, video game?
Yep, it's a video game. You're in a haunted Chuck E. Cheese for all intents and purposes. In itself, it's not a bad concept. And the games are great from what I'm told. As we've said before, I'm not really a big video game person unless you're, throwing batarangs or swinging lightsabers.
I don't know what time you would have to play video games.
That's the thing. And when you start playing them, when I start playing them, I want to keep going because I need to finish.
Oh, well, of course you need to finish.
And time, I hath wasted time, now doth time waste me. But hey, we should probably discuss the comics of the week. Even though, as episodes go, this is one of the shorter amounts of reading we've had to do.
That doesn't always correlate to a short episode, but it might. It might.
Right.
This might be a short one.
We're dealing with the golden age again here.
Is there a theme though for this episode?
Why, yes, there is. This week, we're reading the first on-page appearances of the three most significant and recognizable trophies in the Batcave: the robot T-Rex, the Joker card, and the giant penny.
Outside of Dead Robins, these are probably Dead Robins and a Bat computer. These are probably the most recognizable elements in the Batcave. Dead Robins, Bat computer, Batmobile.
Yes. Our first story of the night is The Isle That Time Forgot. This is Batman Volume 1, Number 10. The writer is Joseph Green, with pencils by Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson, inks by Robinson and George Roussos. No colorer is credited, letters by Roussos, no editor is credited, and the cover date is May of 1942. A test flight of their new Batplane takes Batman and Robin off course and lands them on a strange island, an island with restless natives and dinosaurs.
Now, let's start at the beginning here. I think somebody who is not intimately familiar with the history might hear, "Oh, Batman 10. This has been around forever." Keep in mind, right? Batman debuts in Detective Comics 27. It is at least a couple of years before we get an ongoing Bat title.
It's 39 for Detective 27 and 40 for Batman number 1. They struck while the iron was hot, but it's not immediate either.
I think it's worked out.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job of making this character a thing. I need to start this with an apology to someone that we have badmouthed in the past.
Uh-oh.
because I have never read a panel that more made me think maybe Dr. Wortham was right than the
Don't be gay.
opening. Oh, not even that one. The very first panel of this.
Oh,
I will
yes.
read the
Oh,
text.
yes. Oh, please do.
Across the calm face of a sleeping, unsuspecting lad falls the dark shadow of a groping hand. Steely
Yeah.
fingers clamp tight on the boy. A strong hand rises, falls, slaps sharply against yielding flesh.
Give me more.
Yeah, and then we go into Bruce giving Dick Grayson his birthday spanking.
Yeah.
Yes, throughout this issue, there are multiple lines that, there is a don't be gay and a something queer is going on here. And
Funny
yes,
how language changes.
I was going to say, we know that neither of those words had the exact same connotation as they do now in every case. But coupled with that opening, listen, in all seriousness, yes, Dr. Wortham was wrong, but you can see from a certain point of view where he was coming from.
From a certain point of view, this was a very horny book. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the actual story here, all three of these books are hard and fast in the Golden Age. But as we see, this one's 42. Then we have one in 45 and one in 47. And all of them have those Golden Age pacing things. But this one is especially Golden Age. There's just so much captioning, and you don't see so much action. So much of the action is just described. And it doesn't hurt or help that Bob Kane is the actual artist on some of this, which makes it look stiff and not too great. Bob Kane's ghost artists did a better job than Bob Kane most of the time. So this story itself is Batman and Robin lost on this island that the Batplane has to set down on after it winds up getting caught in an unexpected hurricane that appears out of nowhere.
Well, hold on. Remember, this was a new Batplane that was a present to Robin. This was Robin's birthday Batplane.
Every time anybody says that millionaires and Nepo babies are the worst, you're like, maybe not. Oh, wait, no. He got a plane for his birthday. He's like 12-year-old. You could have put half the orphanages in Gotham through school with the money you spent on Robin's birthday Batplane, Bruce.
But it's still a Batplane. It's not like a Robin copter.
That's true. So they wind up landing on this island, and it could have been worse in the appropriation and cultural insensitivity standings. All of the quote-unquote natives are white guys. We did not see them doing horrible racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
And that winds up becoming clear why as the story progresses. The fact that they spend an entire page, granted 8 panels on that page, but an entire page dedicated to Batman and Robin dealing with the T-Rex. That's what, 1 page in a Golden Age story. That's now like what, an issue and a half?
Now here's the question though. Are we to assume that obviously Batman takes this specific T-Rex back to the cave?
I would assume. I think eventually after he got home and the good nature, like, what a sucker I was to not realize that this was a robot and that we stumbled into a movie set. What a boneheaded mistake of mine. When he realizes
What a boner. What an absolute boner.
When he realizes, wait a minute, they just filmed me, they knocked me unconscious, they threatened my life repeatedly. Maybe he went to that director and dangled him outside of a window for a while. And he's like, wait, what can I give you to make you pull me in? I want the T-Rex.
I want your T-Rex. It would look nice in my cave.
I would go with that.
But Matt did sum up the plot here quite nicely. So we crash land after the hurricane, and it's this purportedly undiscovered country type place, but not the undiscovered country, right? That would come much, much, much later and much higher on the list of Star Trek movies. We have people fighting, we have dinosaurs, we have shenanigans, but ultimately turns out that this is some kind of movie set and that the famed T-Rex is a machine. It is human operated.
Yes, and we once again see that Golden Age Batman especially has no moral qualms about killing animals, as he and Robin are attacked by a fake saber-toothed tiger, and he happily pulls off one of its fake saber teeth and just stabs it to death.
Surprisingly, not all of the animals on the island were machines, but as we find out at the end, after a boa constrictor had been shot, there was somebody looking out and was like, "Hey, I had your back, right? If anything got too close, like the fake saber-toothed tiger, I would have shot it."
Where exactly? I mean, this can't be that far from Gotham.
I know, right? This has to be the equivalent of like the Outer Banks of Gotham. And you'd think Batman would figure this out like, okay, look, there's not some kind of secret tropical hideaway like an hour plane flight from Gotham. What's going on here?
And the boa constrictor was not part of the movie, but boa constrictors are not native to North America. So that conveniently somebody dropped their pet boa constrictor off on this island. Is this like, flushing your baby alligators down the toilet? The snake is getting too big. Let's drop it on that island over there. It'll find things to eat. On top of all of this, let's not forget that so the director sees Batman and Robin and decides, hey, let's ad lib this and we're going to work them into it. But the guy who was the star, this was supposed to be his big break, decides that they're cramping his style. So he just keeps knocking them unconscious or trying to kill them. And at the end of all of this, Batman is just completely like, hey, whatever. Oh boy, how did I not figure this out?
Ah,
Well,
shucks, gee golly, this has been some kind of adventure, huh, Robin?
we're going to go see that movie. I bet it's going to look great. This story is retold, modernized in Batman Chronicles number 8. I don't remember that story particularly. I'm really curious to see how much they take other than maybe the basic concept of movie set with a giant robot T-Rex and Batman somehow involved. Because I joked about it a second ago, but can you imagine how a modern Batman would react to someone secretly filming him, threatening his life repeatedly for their movie?
I think we're gonna have to do that in another episode of Legends of the Dark Knight Chronicles Urban Legends.
Yeah, something like, because we haven't covered many Batman Chronicles, and there's some really good issues in there. And that one strikes me as something I need to reread because I love a modernization of a Golden Age story to see how different they make it. And there's a lot of the elements here that are not going to fly in probably the mid 90s.
I don't think you're spanking Dick Grayson.
No.
No, not out of anger or in fun.
Batman was clearly pretty damn spank happy. I mean, what is it in the first Catwoman story? He gives her a spanking too.
Well, I mean, sometimes your friends just need a spanking.
In the immortal words of Homer Simpson, I got a hankering for a spankerin'.
Look, any of you listening out there, if you like to be spanked, if you like to spank other people, remember, go with consent. And look, be careful. Be careful with your implements. Sometimes you don't know how some of them are going to turn out.
We here at Bat Chat are a kink-friendly podcast. We do not yuck anyone's yum. As long as
No.
everyone is consenting adult, then you can do whatever you like.
Unless you specifically want your yum to be yucked. And then, sure, we'll help out. You're a very dirty boy. We're very disappointed in you. Nobody loves you. I'm ashamed of you.
Yeah, I would have been really curious to know what this movie. I guess it just was sort of your generic jungle adventure before Batman and Robin showed up. Evil scientists, tribes people, dashing archaeologist, adventurer, and his damsel, and then you wind up throwing Batman in. I wonder how you
And
work that out.
I don't know either. And like, how do you move from a scripted movie to, oh, Batman, he's a rogue agent in your movie now. I have still not seen, what was it, the Will Arnett Netflix project?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the show, but I'm familiar with it.
But
Yeah,
Murder Town or
something like
Murderville,
that.
something
Murderville, I think that's it.
like that was a really brilliant idea, like having a trained bunch of improv people ready to go with the story and then just introducing somebody who's like, I don't know what's going on here, let's have fun. Marvelous concept, but that would be have how this movie would have to work, except that Batman doesn't know that he's an improv character.
Boy, Batman's a real ass to Robin at the beginning when Robin sees a dinosaur and Batman's like, "No, dinosaurs are dead. You're stupid.
You're a dumb fucking kid, shut the fuck up.
Don't get gay, Robin."
Don't get gay, buddy. Don't get gay.
This is very much a golden age story.
But absolutely delightful. I don't know that it's my favorite because we got a zanier one coming up,
Oh, do we ever?
and one that just functions more as just like a classic caper. But this was absolutely delightful.
Okay, I think we should get on with it, shall we?
Oh, that means it's time. But Batman number 10, the aisle that time forgot, but didn't really on the big board.
We are at 648 stories on the big board.
God damn.
Number one is Post-Crisis Origin of Batman, Batman Year One.
Coming in a sexy 69, and it is so sexy, is Batman 14 to 15 Rooftops.
At 150 is Unhinged, the first arc of the Secret Six ongoing. At 300 is Snow, yet another version of the first Mr. Freeze story.
Coming in real high, not nearly as close to the bottom as it once was, it's Detective Comics number 594, Ecstasy.
At 450 is the Batman Harley Quinn one shot where they introduce Harley Quinn into the DC universe. And all the way at the bottom, it's Three Jokers.
Boo. Spooky boo. Jacob Marley boo.
I'm setting a baseline here.
Okay.
Not saying that it's anywhere directly near here, but this does not beat Joker's Boner at 413.
I don't think anything's gonna beat Joker's Boner tonight because I mean Joker's Boner is like an entirely different league of spectacular. But I mean this is, what number did you say that was?
413.
Okay. Whew, boy, I thought we had another discrepancy in the list.
What do you have as
Oh
413?
no, no, I heard I have 413 as well, but
Okay.
I thought you said 414. If you're not a longtime listener, we are so concerned about the list. We keep separate copies offline. I don't know how that helps us, but it's just like it's a special turnkey system that we've got backups.
So next sort of tent pole here. 489. Commissioner Gordon walks a beat.
I think higher because we've got like some things that I historically scorn. 482, Harley Quinn, Eat Bang Kill Tour. But I will say though, we've got Batman number 1, The Cat at 463.
So here's a recent one.
Okay.
471. The Club of Heroes, where Superman and Batman have to figure out who is going to be the president of the Club of Heroes, and we get a bunch of the Batman Inc. characters, and Superman gets kryptonite-induced amnesia as a kryptonite meteor circles the Earth.
Obviously because of what Morrison did. that becomes more important. And that's probably a better story independent of that. We've got better stuff coming up. I would probably put this somewhere between 471 and 481.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean that is the thing to keep into consideration. That I honestly think this is probably the lowest of the night.
Yeah, I would say that. I think the other two just read better as caper stories and they have less logical nonsense going on.
I think probably nearer to 481. I know you had no particular love for young Alfred Payne and the Butler at
Oh my
479.
goodness, I knew that was coming.
So what about right above that?
Sure, I like it.
Our next story is Rackety-Rax Racket. It's not easy to say. This is Batman Volume 1, number 32. The writer is Don C. Cameron, with art by Dick Sprang. No colorist, letterer, or editor are credited, and the cover date is December of 1945. The Joker's new plot has Robin caught up in a web of pranks. With Batman captured, Joker has Robin performing embarrassing acts to get initiated into his fraternity of saps, all while helping Joker perform more crimes. Robin is going to have to find a way to save Batman and stop Joker, or at least give it the old college try.
Oh my God. You went there.
I had to go for a pun.
You did. You did. You went all out. Now, Matthew, we talked a little bit about this in your research for this episode. Apparently, there's a little bit of a discussion about this. Yes, so tell the good people about that and why you picked this over, what some other incorrect people out there might say.
I was curious. This is theoretically the first appearance of the Joker card, the giant Joker card. But there are all sorts of versions of that card. And if you look at the DC Wiki, it gives you a different issue than this. I wound up poking around, and the great Brian Cronin, who is a writer whose stuff is considerably better than most of the other output from the former comic book resources, now just CBR, but he still writes there, does a whole series of columns about comic history. And I will link to this particular article in the show description. But someone asked him, when you first see the giant Joker mask in the Batcave, and in what issue does that turn into the Joker card? Because apparently there is a story with a giant Joker mask that eventually shows up in the Batcave, and then it changes from that mask into a card. This is the issue that is cited as having the first appearance of a giant Joker card in Joker's lair. So it's the one I went with. The playing card is still in his headquarters in issue 44. The mask shows up in 53, and then the mask is in the Batcave first in 108. And then the giant Joker playing card makes its first appearance in the Batcave in a particularly bizarre place. An imaginary story in Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane number 89. Imaginary world where Bruce Wayne winds up with Lois Lane. A story that I really wish was available legitimately somewhere online, because I've wanted to cover that one, but it's not on Infinite or on Comixology.
No, why would you digitize that stuff, Matt? So this is an interesting bit of history. The only thing I have to add to that is talking about Joker's lair. This is clearly not Joker's hacienda, which is the pinnacle of all Joker headquarters.
It absolutely is. That I don't think the Hacienda shows up for a while, but my God, the Joker is a narcissist. Like you see this headquarters, it doesn't just have the giant Joker playing card, it's got busts of Joker, it's got a chair with the mask of comedy that resembles the Joker mounted on top of it. This is the equivalent of going into some dude's house and all you see are pictures of him, and they're all those kind of pictures that you'd see on some really awful guy's Tinder profile, and you know you need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Oh boy, like I'm about to wind up at the bottom of a well. I gotta get out of here.
Yes, and this is the Joker's version of that. You look at this and it's like, yeah, this guy, even if you didn't realize he was, a psychopathic killer clown, that place just screams, this is not a dude you want to be anywhere near.
No, absolutely not.
The story itself, we are in Joker's utility belt, Joker's comedy of errors territory. It does not reach those two, the pinnacle of that is those two. But this is just sheer wackiness.
So this is against the background of goofy frat boys doing goofy things to get initiated into their fraternities. You know, goofy fun things like pulling fake guns on cops.
Yeah, and there's the difference between a story from the 1940s and today. Not that the cops wouldn't have shot you back in 1940 as they would today, but you wouldn't make a joke about it today.
Yeah. Poor Robin being so put upon.
And just looking at these college kids being like, why would you do this? By the end, he's like, I don't know if I could go to college with all of this. And I say to him, just don't join a frat.
Yeah, you don't have to join a frat. Like you can go to some non-state school where the Greek life is not important.
My college did not have Greek life. There were no fraternities or sororities on my campus.
Ah, and I went to Alabama where we market ourselves on our Greek life.
Ah, yes, no, I was very pleased that that was not a consideration that I ever had to think about.
So here's a fun story. I was in, what was it? It was either law school or grad school when the traditionally white fraternities and sororities integrated. And that has not that long ago, Matthew.
I was gonna say, what the hell?
Yeah, it was real bad. It was real bad. And they finally integrated because, and of course,
This is
like
the 21st century?
yeah. And look, it wasn't an officially segregated system. It was just kind of self-policed, and like you can rush, sure, but look, if you don't get a bid, you just don't get a bid. It's nothing personal. You just weren't right for us. And finally, at some point, like somebody made a big enough stink about it, and national news picked up on it. CNN came in. I'm going to put the picture in the chat so you can react to it. But the eyes of the nation were weighing down on the University of Alabama, and we needed a friend. We needed somebody to come in and say, "Look, this is not a racist institution. You were all good people." And so we had a black man come to campus, and he took a picture with our president at the time. And he was just there to say, like, look, you guys are okay.
Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this.
You guys are really just, it's okay. I really respect this place.
Let's
And
all sit down with some Jello pudding.
God, I have to find the picture. Oh, here it is. There we go. There we go. Yes, sit down with your Jello pudding and just enjoy.
Yep, I figured.
We brought Bill Cosby to campus so he could tell everybody that the University of Alabama was great. And that's not just some regular old like Tuscaloosa resident in the picture with him. That is the university president at the time, smiling and standing next to Bill Cosby in his Alabama t-shirt. Just a spectacular little time capsule.
Oh yeah. But hey, this story, which is a time capsule in itself, yeah, this thing is just goofy. You got Robin, somehow Batman, I mean, not somehow, we see Joker knocks out Batman, gets away with him, and then he makes Robin perform not even pranks. Okay, Robin, you have to shine shoes on the corner for 2 hours. Okay, Robin, you need to sell mufflers and earmuffs in the middle of summer. And of course, these are all to allow Joker to pull off crimes. And I also have to just point something out which indicates the times that you could not have had the Diamond District in Gotham, where the first thing where Joker is having Robin shine shoes on a corner where the diamond merchants hang out. So the shoe polish, which has phosphorescent paint in it, Joker's goons can then follow those guys, knock them unconscious, and rifle through their pockets to see the diamonds they're carrying in their pockets.
Hey, makes sense to me.
And then at the end, when the Joker's final prank comes up, where he makes Robin go and buy a baby doll with 300 pennies, and all the kids are laughing at Robin, calling him, and I quote, a sissy for buying a doll. Again, language has changed. Not that that word was good then and now is bad. It was bad then too, but you're not using that word now. Or at least you shouldn't.
Well, I mean, in certain contexts.
In certain contexts, again, not yucking anybody's yum.
Unless, again, you need to be yucked.
But how Batman gets out of being tied up in Joker's lair is just so weirdly specific.
It's basically like radioactive pennies, burning pennies. Burning
Yeah, and this will be two stories in a row when we get to the next one with Batman using pennies to escape a death trap. This one is at least just broken fragments of Joker's exploding pennies. The next one is a whole science project.
You know what? When we get to the next guy, I'm kind of glad he had. I assume he made only one appearance.
I think whenever he shows up again, it's as a gag. In the same way that we used to treat Kite Man before Tom King, this guy is that kind of thing where he shows up as a gag every now and then.
But hey, it's time to bring him back, right? But we'll get there. We'll get there.
There isn't a ton of meat on the bones of this story, but it's wacky. And Batman at the beginning is buying a necklace for Linda Page, Batman's least interesting love interest. Linda Page never shows up again after a handful of Golden Age appearances. She's just not that interesting. I think she's made her first appearance in the serials. I don't know if I've got much else to put on this one. Oh, and this one, by the way, is also retold in a Batman Chronicles. In Batman Chronicles 19, we get a modernization of this story.
I tell you.
No, excuse me. I'm wrong. My notes are wrong. That's the next story. I beg your pardon.
If we can find a retelling of this story, we'll have an episode made.
Yes. No, I realized immediately, oh wait, no, that was supposed to be the next story. Because there's no way you can remake this one now. Not without doing a whole other thing about hazing.
That's true. Oh, that means it's time. But Batman 32, the Rackety-Rax Racket, Wackety Smack on the big board. To me, I think this is story of the night. But we can have a discussion with the next one. But I thought this was funnier. This was, more capier-y. This had the Joker. This had frat shenanigans. I thought it was great. Again, though, does not beat Joker's boner. So I feel like we are in this area between 413 and 479, which I think it's a good spot for these books.
I'm trying to find a ceiling here beyond 413. Like I'm trying to lower the ceiling.
455, Club of Heroes.
Yeah, I think maybe all three of these tonight are right around that area, huh?
I mean, I do think there's some distance between these two and 479. So these might be 450s, 460s.
Yeah, because I'm looking. There's a lot of golden and early Silver Age stuff in this span. 463 is the first appearance of Catwoman.
I don't think this would beat Luther, You're Driving Me Sane at 458.
Yeah, no. Yes, I agree that no, that it does not beat that. I mean, you got first appearance of Catwoman. You got the Superstition Murders at 466. And then Batman of All Nations, the first appearance of all of those Batman Inc. Club of Heroes characters at 465.
Maybe right between those two?
Yeah, there we go. And our final story of the night is The Penny Plunderers. This is World's Finest Comics number 30. The writer is Bill Finger, with pencils by Bob Kane, inks by Ray Burnley, no colorist is credited, letters by Ira Schnapp, no editor is credited, and the cover date is September of 1947. Joe Coyne is a small-time crook who decides to take on a gimmick. This is Gotham City, after all. Haunted by his poor upbringing, Joe becomes the Penny Plunderer, a villain whose crimes are all themed around pennies, and who intends to make a fortune, even with Batman and Robin standing in his way. So, once you said it, I did a quick search, and yes, this is the only appearance of the Penny Plunderer outside of a couple of wacky uses in, in the backgrounds of scenes. He does not ever get much use, or he shows up in, a holiday special kind of thing. Like, this is a footnote of a villain who would be a complete footnote if not for the fact that the giant penny is a major Batcave trophy. And yes, his story is retold, as I said, in Batman Chronicles 19.
I'm not too proud to admit that as I was reading this, I scanned over the name and like, oh, that's a strange looking name. I wonder how that's pronounced. And then the next time I saw it, it's like, oh, coin. Gotcha.
Yeah. Because again, this is Gotham and everyone has to have a gimmick. I think it's at the bottom of the first page of this story. There's a panel of Coin in prison screaming. And the way his face looks, like, wow, that is like his mouth is about 2 times wider than it possibly should be, and his eyes are gigantic. It's wild. This is still pre-code or close to the code. So he's killing people. There's the talk of murder, and he flat out shoots a guy. Yeah, this is still pre-code. The code is 54. So he gets away with stuff that we don't picture happening a little bit later than, those early 40s stories.
And that was something interesting in the last episode because Joker does say, like, yeah, I really would enjoy, killing Batman. And that's not something you really think of when you think about this era because so much of what we read is postcode.
Oh, yeah. But I like that Joker says, I'd really like to kill him, but I'd really much rather embarrass him. Oh, post early Golden Age, pre-1970s Joker. You were a wacky scamp.
He was, and not to backtrack too far, but he was really concerned with criming in the last story.
Yes, he was. So here, this guy, Joe Coyne, you could have just stopped carrying pennies.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's obsessed with pennies, which, yes, Two-Face is obsessed with the number 2. The Penguin is obsessed with birds in this era. I'm not saying that it's not a trademark of Bat characters, but he loses his job for pitching pennies, which is apparently a form of gambling. He winds up getting arrested when he tries to pull his first robbery, and the register is only full of pennies. So, of course, one would have two options here. One either eschews pennies, or one becomes completely and utterly obsessed with them and sets your entire life around them. And as I said in the synopsis, this is Gotham City, so obviously it's the latter.
Gotta pick a gimmick.
And somehow he gets out of prison. And listen, the system is broken. We do not live in a system where once you have served your time, you are allowed to reintegrate into society. You are simply put back out there into the world in a system that will not let you forget that you were in prison, and you will become a recidivist. Yet somehow this sumbitch gets out of jail and starts a company selling and renting slot machines and games of chance. But instead of making money this way, he uses it as a front for crime.
Oh, well, of course.
These stories are not socially aware, absolutely, but it dumb. In a charming, wacky way, but still, it dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And his crimes are just like, oh, let me go into a bank and give somebody a roll of pennies that has a gas bomb in it. And I'm not going to, wear a mask. Why would I wear a mask? They're not going to recognize me later, I'm sure. That is not brought up, by the way. That just bugged me. And let's steal a bunch of vintage penny banks and ransom them back to the rich guy who collects them.
Hey, if you find the guy with the obsession, he's gonna pay.
You know what? Yes. Robin might be at his punniest here, fighting these guys after water skiing after them connected to the bat plane. The ski's the limit. Mind if I knock wood as he hits them with his skis?
Let's be fair to Robin. In the last story, he did make a Penn State Penn joke, which
Yes.
actually made me laugh out loud.
That one I actually did like. But here is the story where Batman gets out of a room by Joe Coyne locks Batman and Robin in a room that is slowly filling with carbon monoxide. As he leaves, he throws them 2 pennies, giving them his 2 cents. But they happen to be, one is a pre-war and one is a post-war penny. So one of them has a zinc coating and one doesn't. And they're able to somehow cobble together some salt water. And between the 2 pennies and the salt water, make a battery that allows them to tap out an SOS on the phone lines. So the operator sends a cop to break them out.
Now, remember, kids, the zinc pennies are not valuable. Just an FYI, putting it out there.
As opposed to the copper pennies that are worth more than a cent?
No. There are some World War II copper pennies, basically like the handful that were produced that shouldn't have been produced, or the ones with weird mint marks, or whatever the coin people are into. The handful of copper World War II pennies, some of those are valuable. My father was a coin collector. Oddly enough, collected large cents, which was colonial era pennies. So that could have been a thing that Coin was into.
And he winds up going after a penny stamp.
Now it's interesting, in alternate universe Batcave, the giant stamp is what becomes the trophy and not this penny.
Yeah, because they're both in the same room. Boy, could you imagine this giant stamp of Queen Victoria in the Batcave? Maybe Batman sent that over to the Knight.
Ah.
Then we go into the Knight's castle and there's a giant stamp of Queen Victoria that was a gift from Batman.
I like it. Let's suggest that to somebody.
And let's not forget how the story ends. First, I do have a question. Is ironical a word? Because Joe Coyne uses it. He says, isn't it ironical? I'm like, I don't think that's a word.
No, I don't think so. Irregardless, I don't think so.
Yes. But in the end, Joe Coyne comes up with this plan as he and his gang flee Batman. It's like, okay, you guys go and hide out. I'm going to lead them into a trap, and I'll call you to tell you where I am, as opposed to them coming with him and just jumping Batman and Robin. But whatever. Winds up shutting himself up in a room with a payphone. Not finding a room that just has a phone, but finding a payphone. And then realizing that he needs a nickel to make the call, and all he has are 5 pennies.
No!
Which is exactly how he reacts. Listen, I'm giving this story a lot of shit for the fact that the logic in this thing is completely buck wild, but I enjoyed this a lot.
Oh yeah, this was a hoot.
But Penny Plunderer, he makes Kite Man look good. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, look, we got to bring him back. We got to bring him back. We're ending production of the penny. Oh, come on. There's a story there.
There is absolutely a story for the bitterness of Joe Coyne, the penny plunderer. He's going to go and he's going to steal all the pennies, show them the power of the penny. And Batman is a hard ass in this story. When they find the member of Coyne's gang who turned stoolie and who Coyne shot, Batman's response is something to the effect of, that's a chance you take when you turn into a crook. No real sympathy for a petty criminal who was just shot dead. This guy wasn't murder for hire or anything. He was stealing penny banks. And he was a lackey. Wasn't even the guy in charge.
Look, Matt, they are a superstitious and cowardly lot, and they deserve the fate that befalls them.
I guess so. Just ask Golden Age Batman. He'll tell you. I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to think, can you do a penny plunderer in the modern age when the penny has had next to no value for a long time?
Well, certain pennies are still valuable. Penny artifacts. You know, you could do a story. Joe Coyne wants his fucking penny back out of the Batcave. What better heist could there be than stealing something from the Batcave?
Yeah. Hey, we just recently did Almost Got Him on a bonus episode, which gives a very different origin of the giant penny, tying it to Two-Face. But there is something weirdly charming about Joe Coyne, the penny plunderer.
I mean, it's hilarious. It is nonsense and it is hilarious.
Which is a joy that you can find in Golden Age comics, where they didn't care. These were disposable artifacts for children. Let's come up with a guy whose whole thing is pennies.
You know what? If anybody could bring him back, I bet Fraction could do it.
You know, I bet he could. And let's also be fair. There's this guy, see, he always wears a tuxedo. And he's obsessed with umbrellas and birds. Doesn't sound much less ridiculous than the penny plunderer.
No, but then I think by the time you get Two-Face and he is obsessed with his coin, we can't have too many coin guys. You got one coin guy.
Yeah, and Two-Face is definitely the better of the two villains.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and let's also not forget that, they're copper pennies. And coppers keep getting in his way. He's
those
gonna
fucking coppers.
He's gonna show those coppers what copper can do. The wordplay, the penny wordplay here is almost too much. Almost. But not quite.
But not quite.
And he is convicted of murder in the end. So I assume the reason we never saw Joe Coyne is that he was executed.
That's what the newspaper says.
Oh, poor Joe Coyne.
Sentenced to death.
You weren't. What's the line? There's that the Simpsons Halloween special with Bart's evil twin. Too crazy for Boys Town. Too much of a boy for Crazy Town. That's Gotham. It's like, okay, most of them are just they wind up going to Arkham, but this guy wasn't nuts enough, so he just goes to Blackgate to be executed. Poor Joe Coyne. Hanging out in a block with Kite Man and trying to think who the hell else actually winds up going to Blackgate. Certain versions of the Penguin. Very few villains wind up in Blackgate. Most of them really just go to Arkham.
Well, Blackgate is relatively new.
Well, the state pen. Most of them don't wind up in the loony bin, as they would call it. I would not use that phrase for anything other than Arkham Asylum. Lockup usually winds up in Blackgate. There's more. There are villains who are in Blackgate, but mostly
But because lockup clearly totally sane.
But hey, we're talking about the disposition of various Gotham criminals. I think we should wrap up, huh?
This is a real short episode, Matt. Very short.
Yeah. In all fairness, yeah, Golden Age stories, yes, they are short. These were all 12 pages each, but they pack a lot into 12 pages.
And we just fucking hate talking to each other. God damn it.
No.
Fucking shit. God shit.
Why do we keep doing this?
I know, right? Oh, that means it's time to put World's Finest number 30, the Penny Plunderers, the Saga of Joe Coyne on the big board.
All right. You know what? I actually think this might be easy.
Ooh.
Because
We have come up with quite the range here.
I'm gonna give you a number.
Give me a number. Hit me.
New 469. Below the
Nice.
Batman Beyond from a couple weeks back, and above the first appearance of that second Mad Hatter, the one who doesn't have anything to do with Wonderland and is instead obsessed just with hats.
All right. I'm going to put this down as World's Finest number 30, the Ballad of Joe Coyne.
And that does it for tonight. Next week, it's our annual holiday episode, so we return to 3 stories of Christmas in Gotham. Remember, you can support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/batchatwithmatt and Will, where you can get shoutouts, bonus content, pick a story, and even come on the show. We'd like to thank those Patreon backers: Dan Grote, Josh Wheel, Mrs. Abigail Hartbaum,
Mm.
Asimov Fangirl, Tony Thornley,
Go Aggies.
Sam Hopper,
Go to bed, Sam. It's like 4 o'clock in the goddamn morning.
John Wickham,
John, you wonderful, beautiful human being. You know, you could pick books that we could just enjoy. You could pick some of the best books that we haven't covered yet. You absolutely could. You beautiful boy.
Robert Secundus,
Oh, Bubby, I love you so much. Go outside, touch some grass, put the Twitter down. Hey, tell you what, Bobby, listen to me. Imagine if you just deleted Twitter for a day. All right, you're right. You're staring at your phone. You're like, I'm gonna get this fucking app off my phone just for a day. See how it goes.
Tim Rooney, Giorgio Srigioli, David Wheel,
World's greatest gray belt,
Alexander Wheel, Matt McThorne,
McThorny,
Dan Offer,
barely knew her.
Nate Randell, Danielle Mosley, Ross Holmes,
Mr. Random Ass.
Will Crisp,
Me compadre, was so good to see you tonight. Love running with you, buddy.
Carlos Cordova, Jordan Jennings, and Charlie Etheridge Nunn for their support. This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music/Audible, YouTube Music, Podbean, and on comicsxf.com, where new episodes drop every Thursday. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I talk about comics and other random things, and Letterboxd, where I review all the movies I watch, both at MattLaz1013.
Oh, and you can find me on Twitter at Will Nevin against my will, where looks like I'm gonna be fucking posting my Game of Thrones thoughts. Apparently, the episode of The Perfect Line I was on finally aired. I thought I had just ruined the episode, but my aunt sent me a screenshot. I enjoyed winning no money on the show, but yeah. So that's what's going on Twitter, and the world's on fire. But you know what? That can wait until tomorrow. Good night, Huntsville.
And be sure to visit ComicsXF at comicsxf.com or ComicsXF on Blue Sky for our weekly Friday Bat Chat roundup of new Bat books, for my other show, the ComicsXF Interview Podcast, where my longtime best friend Dan Grote and I interview comics creators, retailers, publishers, journalists, and other related tradespeople, as well as all the other stuff Will and I are writing. And stay safe out there, folks. Gotham is not a place to be after dark.